I'm just going to start asking the question, what bothers me most? And for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to zero in on this one section. So I'm cheating a little bit here. That in every other situation, I would want you to apply like this. You look at the whole painting, you ask what's bothering me the most, and whatever it is that is bothering you the most, that's the part that you want to fix right away, right? But because I want to make sure we get at least one really good reflection demonstration here, I'm just going to zero in on this one spot. And first thing I want to do, I'm going to take a smaller brush here. This is a number 2 flat. And I'm going to finish painting in the shape of the boat. And then I'm going to start making sure the reflections line up correctly with that boat. So on the palette, I'm just mixing, again, titanium, a little bit of gold ochre, but it's a lot of titanium and a tiny bit of gold ochre. So on the palette, you see it corresponds to this number 10 value, as light as I can make it. And that's how I have it labeled on our value scale as well, number 10 value. So I'm going to scoop that up and start painting it in. Have it up here in the corner. This is just about looking at the shape and copying the shape. Okay. It's a little bit of that water color right here left, Viridian, cobalt, and white. I'm just going to pull it underneath the boat there. We can see it right in there. And it has the below the water line is green. I'm just going to grab this. It was gold ochre and cobalt blue together. We used it for one of the more distant shapes up above. I'm just going to bring that green in. Ever so slight an angle there. There we go. And it is actually resting on a sandbar, right? Just a little sandbar that I am 100% sure comes and goes with the tide. And the sandbar color is from right over here, transparent red oxide and ultramarine blue, just those two together. And I'm going to add a little bit more, maybe a little bit more transparent red oxide as we come underneath that shape in there. So I'm just, this isn't reflection. This is actual shore, if you will, that it's resting on right in here. And then there's more water right in there, right? So we can see a little piece of water in there. And I like it. You could say, "Hey, that's a little bit too complex, isn't it? Could we simplify all that?" And you could, right? It's your painting, my painting. We can do whatever we want. But I actually really enjoy this little bit of complexity right here, and it sculpts out the bow so nicely right there. Okay, there we go. And there's a slightly darker, just as it rolls down in and around. This is still transparent oxide red, ultramarine. It's just a little bit more transparent oxide red and ultramarine. You can see sort of the curve of that shore. All right, and then we're getting into, well, first of all, gold ochre, transparent red oxide. We'll get that nice rich orange color. Gold ochre, transparent red oxide, not doing it for me. Those are not the right two colors. So I'm switching colors, and I'm going to switch brushes too. No, I'm not going to switch brushes. I'm going to stick with this brush. It's a number 2 flat, everyone. And I'm just going to take transparent red oxide, and I'm going to put it with bismuth. And that's going to give me not a brilliant orange like if I were to mix this with pyrrole, but a nice warm in the sun, and specifically wooden trim in the sun. Let me show you what I'm going to do with this. Just bismuth and pyrrole, or I'm sorry, bismuth and transparent red oxide there. And it is this shape right in here. And I'm going to put a little bit of white and a little bit more yellow in that mixture. So a little bit more bismuth and a tiny bit of white. And right here, just going to intensify all that a little bit. I'm going to take the transparent red and ultramarine mixture here and use it to create that ever so subtle shift. And that's not subtle enough. In oil painting, you get the chance to be subtle twice. If at first you don't succeed, try again. There aren't too many other things where you can have a second shot at subtlety. You get pretty obvious after the first try. There we go. Now it worked. And that's just showing that roundness down. Okay, and I'm gonna change mixtures here. I'm gonna do titanium with just a little bit of that bismuth. So now we have an even cheerier sort of yellow white here. See that? I'm gonna take it and I'm going to put a stroke of it as that sun glare on a white boat close to us right there. Ah, not enough. All right, I'm going to take a palette knife. I'm going to scoop up a little paint on that palette knife, and I'm going to just ladle that on right there.
Sorry, is that titanium with a little bit of yellow?
Bismuth.
Bismuth, yeah.
Yellow. That's better. And I'm just going to take, I wasn't wanting to do this. I didn't want to, but I'm going to put just a little bit of straight titanium right through that most intense part of the highlight. And then bring that trim color back in on top.
Could I ask about the bismuth? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Great. I don't have that color, but I've got lemon yellow. I've got the cadmiums light, medium, and dark. And I think I've got Hansa or Azo. What is the
Just
closest? What's the closest to that color?
lemon.
The lemon? Okay.
That's
Okay,
right.
thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, lemon's going to be perfect for you right there. There's that little piece of boat that's in the shadow over there. Okay, now what's next? What's next? How do I proceed from here? And I'm asking what bothers me the most, but I'm keeping targeted right on this boat. So I'm not looking all over the place, but just going to take a little bit more gold ochre and white and put it on the sand right here. Warm that up. All right, and now we have the reflection of the boat below. That's what I'm going to do next. And well, in 1 second, I'm going to make sure that this is straight enough right here. And it really needs a line. So I'm going to get my liner. This comes in the Polar Flow set. You can almost get them in a grocery store. They're just liners. They're called riggers sometimes. And I'm going to get a little bit more of that bismuth and pyrrole mixture right here and just make it a little bit darker. So I'm leaning it, no, bismuth and trans red oxide. Sorry, there's no pyrrole here. Trans red oxide. Anyway, and I'm leaning it more towards that trans red oxide so we get that brown. I'm going to take that, balance my pinky on the shore over here, and just create a little bit more of that distinct separation between the side of the boat and the top of the boat. Okay, now there's some shapes to work out above and below, both places. I'm going to start, I think, above, just because it's an easier shape to grab up in here. What is that? Well, that's really just the reflection and some of those brown colors on the bank. So that brown bank and then the reflection of the grass, and it's all dark there. So we're painting reflections, and it's just giving us that nice crisp edge when it's just above the covering of that sail. So on the palette, how do I mix those colors? Well, trans red oxide seems like the first and best place to go. And I'm going to start with trans red oxide and ultramarine and white, but enough trans red oxide so that I can keep it on the brown side there. The value should be around a 3. The shore over here. It takes some straight transparent red oxide for that shadow that's right in there. And I'm going to use it to draw a line here just to give some clarity to what's happening there. And it goes this way. Okay. Well, next thing I think is just the drawing right in there.